The From Busy to Rich podcast helps financial advisors grow their businesses beyond the products they sell and the assets they manage, increase profitability, and reclaim their time by providing strategies and insights that will not only change your life, but practice.
All right. Well, welcome everybody to the From Busy to Rich podcast. Again, Justin is out, our normal host this week, because he's at Strategic Coach, and you guys get me. Rather than just being asked questions today, I've got a special guest, and I get to ask the questions. And so, my friend Walter Bond is going to be on the show with us today. And Walter's got a very cool story, and he's done some really fabulous things. You know, he's an author, speaker, coach, and his journey to getting there has really equipped him to really help people operate at peak performance and take them to their next level of the unlived life that's yet within them. And so, Walter, thank you for being on the show, brother.
Hey, thank you, Wesley. You know what? That's my son's name. So
I love
obviously
it.
I like you, right?
Yeah. He's handsome. He has to be handsome. His name's Wesley, right?
Very handsome young man.
Awesome. Well, Walter, I would love for our listeners out there, we're a podcast that, as I told you, we really want to help advisors to help them have holistic, transformational, fee-based financial planning practices. And so what I love about all the things you speak on and all the people you help is this group, they were built to hear you, because these guys are strivers. They want to get better. They want to build better. No matter how good they are, they think they can take it up another level and enjoy their life in the process. And so if you would give them a little background on your journey and what happened, where you are today, and kind of what all the stuff that happened along the way.
Well, the good news, hopefully some of your people have heard me already, because I speak at a lot of financial service events around the world. Everyone calls them something different. Diamonds Club, President's Club, MDRT, Million Dollar Round Table. Sure. And people want to be elite, right? That's it's built in us. And I got a chance to play in NBA. And what's incredible about my story, it didn't look like it for a long time. I didn't start on my college basketball team. In fact, my freshman year, I didn't play much at all. And I didn't realize I was in my own way until I began to mature. And basically, what I discovered, Wesley, which I think is so important for your audience, is that you can be a peak performer. You can become elite, but you have to understand there's a code that comes with it. And early in my basketball career, I was violating the code. And until I cracked the code, I was never going to play in NBA. Just like that high school locker, we all had that lock in high school. And if you didn't have the right combination, left, right, left, or whatever, that locker wouldn't open. I don't care how much you tried. I don't care how much you yanked on it. If you didn't crack the code of the combination, the locker wouldn't open. That's the metaphor of peak performance, right? So if you want to be Diamonds Club, President's Club, Elite Club, or whatever you want to do to become a peak performer, you must understand there's a code. And once you learn the code, that's when you get the breakthrough. And in my basketball career, once I got out of my own way, I had a breakthrough. And not only did I make it to the NBA, I started my rookie year for the Dallas Mavericks. So I had an incredible breakthrough once I kind of got out of my own way. So basically, we created what we call the peak performance code. And I've used it twice. Once to make it to the NBA, the second time to become a Hall of Fame motivational speaker. Now my wife and I built a company around teaching our clients the code so that they can have the breakthrough. We work with organizations like Jersey Mike Subs, kicking Subway's butt, just so for
yeah. Way better experience there.
Come on, man. Just whole nother level. And they went from a little one-stop shop in New Jersey now to a juggernaut, with 3,500 locations. So, the code is agnostic. Anyone who kind of gets the code and executes the code, they'll have the breakthrough. When we use a shark mindset a lot as a part of our brand, because sharks cracked the code 400 million years ago. Sharks are the apex predator in the ocean because they move different than every other fish in the ocean. So a top financial advisor, top financial planner, once you start moving differently, that's when you break out the pack. That's when you get your breakthrough. And that's when you get to your next level.
That's awesome. So if you, well, and I'd love to, I want to continue on this theme of the code and some things that, I mean, I believe and have observed, we often suffer unnecessarily because of the stories we tell ourselves, or because we inherited a story that we're repeating to ourselves, and it causes us to get in our own way. Because what everybody wants to be happier. Everybody, if you told them, hey, do you want to create an extraordinary future? Do you want to continue to go to new and higher and better levels? And do you want to love the journey you're on in the process? Nobody's going to say no to that. But so many people, both, and I think you can go a couple ways with this. They 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 struggle, I think, in the area of, I think, first just identifying what is it I think I want? What is it in the future that I'm trying to create? Because so difficult to get where you are or where you want to go if you don't know where you are relative to where you want to go. And so can you speak to some of that the code kind of speaks to?
So first of all, you have to have a vision, right? And it needs to be tangible, right? Nobody gets in their car and goes nowhere. When we get in our car, we typically have a destination in mind. I'm going to the grocery store. I'm going to church. I'm going to the airport. We hop in the car and we go straight there. Well, our vision should be very similar, right? At 10 years old, I'm going to play in the NBA. It was a clear destination. When my NBA career ended, I want to be a Hall of Fame motivational speaker, clear destination. So the number one issue a lot of people have, they think success is just about working hard. And working hard is a part of it, but you have to have a clear destination. Once you have a clear destination, we can help then. Because now the most important thing is mindset. The average human has about 70,000 thoughts a day. And in some cases, we can imprison ourselves with our own thought process, our own thought life. And I use the analogy, your mindset can be like a whirlpool. If you think about a whirlpool, the same water goes around in a circle again and again and again. If you think about a river has flow. A river has life. A river is changing. Tides are rising. Tides are lowering. And the mindset can't be like a whirlpool. Because if you have a negative mindset, you're trapped, right? If you have a mediocre mindset, you're trapped. If you have an average mindset, you're trapped. And so you have to break free and create more of a river mindset. My mindset was like a whirlpool. I don't start in college. I don't get to play, what's going on, it's politics. I was caught in this negative loop in my mind. And luckily my dad called me and he said, hey man, why don't you play? And I gave him an excuse. That was a part of my whirlpool. I said,
Yeah.
politics, Dad, it's political. And he says, well, how does your coach get paid? I said, well, he gets paid to win. He says, if you can help that man win, you'll play. Click. So that took my mind on a different journey, right? So it wasn't about my excuses. It wasn't about my justification. Instantly, Wesley, my mindset shifted into how can I help my coach win? And all of a sudden, I began to evaluate the situation. I began to see gaps in our team, things we didn't do well. And all of a sudden, my value increased tremendously because my mindset shifted. I stopped thinking about me and I started
Mhm.
thinking about how can I help my team win? And the next thing I knew, I'm in the NBA helping NBA teams win. So my mindset was in a loop. I had some help getting out of my loop. And one of the codes that we help organizations break out of is their mindset. And I do it in a very humble way because there's times in my life where I've had a poor mindset. People don't know this. I flunked out my first high school. Right?
Oh, wow.
I had a poor mindset. I went to a top academic school, and what happened? I didn't get accepted. And my dad was a high school principal, and he wrote a letter and got me in. But the day I showed up, I didn't feel worthy. In my mind, in my whirlpool, all these kids are smarter than me. All these kids are smarter than me. I only got in because my dad wrote a letter. I only got in because my dad wrote a letter. It was another opportunity where my mindset was corrupted into convincing myself that I'm not as smart as these kids. So I just gave you two examples. And luckily,
Yeah.
my dad was a high school principal. He helped me break that loop. And before I knew it, I'm a thought leader. I sit on corporate boards. And so I'm
Yeah.
on a mission to help people with their mindset, which is a huge part of breaking the peak performance code. It's biblical. As a man thinks, so is he.
Yeah.
Luckily, after my basketball career, after I got my academic life together, I was prepared to really go and teach the code. So that's what we do with our clients. We help them crack the code to peak performance. And I don't care how hard you work. If you don't crack the code of your mindset, having a vision, taking full advantage of every opportunity, being accountable, we have a formula to help a person crack the code. And I'm telling you, once you know the code, it's no different than a combination to your lock at the high school locker. All the goodies are inside.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to crack the code.
So good. So good, Walter. I love how your dad, when you're telling him, things aren't going well and it's not what I want, and going through that deal, and and the reason is it's not me, right? You're like, it's the victim mentality, right? I'm looking out the window instead of in the mirror, and your dad said, "Hey, how do you think he gets paid?" Well, to win basketball games. So you figure out how to be valuable, and then he will demand you play, right? He's going to be a part of that team. And I love that value creation. This is something, and maybe you can give us some personal counseling here on, both my kids are in college right now, and both of them are, doing great. They go to Texas Christian University and Fort Worth. And they've noticed, they've had some friends that were a little older than them that they graduated a year or so ahead of them. And it's like, well, Dad, some of them struggle to get jobs or get good jobs. And the conversation I'm in with them, and we're really just trying to figure out how can we like take this even deeper. And because they get it, and I'm glad they get it now, is look, at the end of the day, money follows value creation. And it doesn't follow hard work. It doesn't follow long hours. Now, you may have to do those things to create the value, but it follows value creation. Don't mistake activity with productivity and value creation. And so when you are preparing yourself and you graduate from that university, what you do that year, yes, you have a degree, and so do thousands and thousands of other people that graduated the same year you did. And the people behind you and the people in front of you. So if you were I'd like to just talk to like a student that is, maybe they're somewhere in that second, third, fourth, maybe their final year of college, and they want to add value. They want to have a career that matters and that they can grow into. What would you tell that person?
Well, if you really think about wealth, it's really about serving mankind and helping solve problems. If any college student wants to be wealthy, don't focus on money. Just focus on becoming an expert and helping people solve problems. So in financial services, the average American has $1,500 in savings, right? The average American is a car accident or a bad refrigerator away from going broke, right? So if I'm going to be a successful financial planner, financial advisor, the first thing I need to do is become an expert. Right? I can't cut the corner. I must become an authority, an expert in financial services, in financial planning, and then go out and help solve problems. There's tons of problems right in your town. A lot of financial planners get frustrated. I'm in a small market. What? Your town has 50,000 people. Shut up. You got plenty of people who don't have their financial house in order, that if you become the true authority, go out and build relationships, go and solve problems, and solve them so well that your word of mouth is so powerful. Right now I've been speaking for 25 years. I have people who hire us and say, "Man, I heard you speak 8 years ago, and I never forgot what you said. And because I executed what you said, and now I got promoted. Now I'm a boss. Now I'm a president." I had a young lady call the office about a year or two ago. She said, "Walter, I heard you speak at my bank. I was a manager, and you were so good. I executed everything you taught me. I said to myself, when I get into a position of authority, I'm going to hire you." So I showed up at the venue. I had no clue what happened. It was just another gig to me. And she was like, "Oh my God, I want you to know how much you meant to me. I had a problem years ago as a manager. Your message that one day gave me a solution to my problem. Now I'm an executive," right? So I just want to thank you. And the way I'm going to thank you is by hiring you to come and speak for my company. So when I think about any business leader, solve problems.
Yeah.
The world is full of problems. My college basketball coach had a problem. We weren't winning. I became a solution to his problem. And I solved the problem so well that the NBA noticed me and they had the same problem. Right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a
Yeah.
simple equation. Become an authority and go out and solve problems. That's the simplest way I could teach someone what true wealth is all about.
So this is so good because So one of the things we teach, we also teach a class in addition to running our financial planning practice. We teach a class to advisors every year that want to kind of move from that place of being transactional to more transformational in the value that they're delivering. And a big part of that we talk a lot about, and I just love to get your thinking around this, is we want to move them from jumping into a meeting and talking about stuff, all the stuff they have, all the solutions they have, all the process they have, to really engaging in the client's story. And the story, because all of us, there's a great Stephen Pressfield quote. He wrote The War of Art, and he says, most of us have two lives: the life we live and the unlived life within us. And between those two stands resistance. And so our entire process, that's really our win, is to help people, inspire people to increase their profitability and their quality of life. And certainly we are advisors specifically in the financial space, but to really increase the profitability and quality of life, we need to know, what is the unlived life within you that lights you up, that you've been built for and built around. And once we begin to talk about that with the client, they go to a place in their minds and in their spirits that they're like, it's exciting. This is not the typical thing. Then we can go into, all right, now let's talk about all the things you can do to get you from one place to another. So as it relates to that idea around all that, I just love your thinking, having done all the things that you've been doing.
Wesley, that's a great question. And again, it goes back to cracking the code. We have a sales training specifically for financial advisors, especially those who aren't Diamonds Club or President's Club, or don't get a chance to go to $1 Million Round Table or whatever the elite people get to go hang out at. And again, my goal is to play in the NBA, right? So I had to crack the code in order for my dreams to come true. The truth is, the smart financial planner understands something powerful, that they're in the people business, right?
Yeah.
And we, in our sales training, we teach our people, you are the CRM. When I got into the business world, a lot of people are like, well, what CRM are you using? What's your CRM? I'm like, what? What's that? Why? It's
Yeah.
like asking me, what basketball are you using? They're
Yeah.
all the same. It's not much different. Or what shorts are you wearing? I don't know. I have no idea. I'm playing ball. I'm gonna get that ball in the hole. That's how I'm gonna get value. So I'll give you an example. This cell phone right here, I have 5,672 contacts in my phone. If you saw my phone, I got some names in there that would blow you away. You would see some of the names and say, there's no way you got this cell phone. Absolutely. Because I'm in the people business. And I learned a long time ago, my value is in relationships. And for anyone who's going to be successful in business, you got to get into the people business. I can give you so many examples of people who become elite, not because they're more talented than anybody else or smarter. They're just in the people business.
Yeah.
If I have 5,000 people in my cell phone, I'm going to give you one name, not to brag, but just for example, Ted Koppel. Anybody who's anybody in America knows who Ted Koppel is. I happen to have his cell number. If you connect to me, right? If I like you, if I trust you, I might give you access to Ted Koppel. So imagine if a young journalist, imagine if your son says, Walter, I want to be a journalist. I want to be a reporter. Can you help me? Well, maybe I can help you, but I know someone who could. Here's
Yes.
Ted Koppel's number. Let me set up a Zoom with Ted Koppel. Are you kidding me? So, right. So the power of people is so important. I don't care if you have 300 people in your cell phone or your iPhone or whatever. Get into the people business. And probably the most prominent person I've ever seen in the people business is Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey was a journalist, like every other journalist. I think she was making $60,000. She came up with an idea. I'm going to get on TV. And if I get on TV, I'm going to get access to more people. Long story short, Oprah Winfrey is a multi-billionaire because she pivoted. She stayed in journalism, but she got into the people business. So when I think about financial planners, stay in financial planning, make one pivot, get into the people business.
Yeah.
Everyone in your cell phone should know who you are. Everyone in your cell phone should know what you do. Everyone in your cell phone should know exactly how you do it. Everyone in your cell phone should see you as an authority. in financial planning, not just a financial planner, but as an authority. I get phone calls, I get emails, I get texts all the time. All my friends, all 5,612, whenever they meet someone who wants to be a speaker, guess who they call?
You.
Walter, I met a guy, man. He wants to be a speaker. Walter, I met a girl. She wants to be. Man,
Yeah.
I get almost one call a day from all of my contacts who met someone randomly who wants to be a speaker or who's looking for a speaker. Why? Because 5,612 people I'm connected to, not just in my phone, connected to, not
Yeah.
just in my phone. I don't have the time to break that down.
Yeah.
Who I am connected to know who I am. They know what I do. They know how I do it, and they know I'm an authority in my industry. I'm a Hall of Fame motivational speaker, only 200 alive. So when they meet someone in the speaking industry, training industry, coaching industry, anything close to what I do, they reach out and connect the dot. That's what it's all about. I learned that from Oprah Winfrey because she's still a journalist, but she pivoted and got into the people business. I want every financial planner hearing me. You are a financial planner, but get out of financial planning and get into the people business. Successful people know a lot of people. Your life can be transformed if you get a clear vision, if you get your mindset right. And one of the things we teach as we teach people how to crack the code
Yeah.
is to network effectively, right? To network effectively. Here's my last lesson I want to teach on that because I know we're running out of time. When my basketball career ended, all my friends were who?
Basketball
NBA,
player.
NBA basketball players. Carmelo was my friend. John Stockton was my friend. Tim Hardaway was my friend. I hung out with all my friends, and I got a chance to make NBA money as a benefit of these relationships. When I left sports, guess what I did? It was my wife's idea, actually. She says, Walter, we need to join the country club. My first reaction was like, country club? What am I going to do at a country club? She's like, dude, we got to get you around successful business people.
Yeah.
Great, brilliant. Since my career ended, Wesley, we have always belonged. Now I live in a country club, maybe the most successful country club in all of South Florida. My country club has 6 billionaires, and everyone in my country clubs know who I am. Everyone at this country club know what I do. Everyone at this country club knows how I do it. So every time I go up to the country club, hey, Walter, you got to meet my friend. Hey, Walter, you got to meet my friend. Hey, do you know Walter? Do you know Walter? And we teach these principles to a lot of our clients. And I'm telling you, we help solve problems because everyone wants a breakthrough, Wesley. Everybody does. And for the most part, everybody's working hard.
Yeah.
But working hard is not enough. We have to work smart. And what we do, we teach people how to get that next level breakthrough they all desire by simply teaching them our peak performers code.
Yeah. That's amazing. The one of my friends said this a long time ago, and it's just so stuck with me, and it resonates with everything you just said. He said, "Be around people that are up to something. Be around people that are up to something, and then spend time thinking about how can you add value to what they care about." And I love that because it's to know how you can add value to what they care about. You have to know what they care about. And people that are up to something think different, and they elevate the way you think, and they get rid of a lot of thinking you might have inherited that are limiting your possibilities.
Well, Wesley, let me say this, man. Sharks move different. That's why the brand shark
Yeah.
mindset is so prevalent. Sharks are the apex predator in the ocean because they move differently, right? And in our sales training, shark mindset selling, we teach the sales fundamentals. We teach how to become the authority. We teach how to ask great questions, but we give sales tips too. So one day, this is all I did. I went through my phone. I went to the letter A. I went down my letter A, Wesley, and I text everyone under letter A, hey, what's up? How can I help you? Hey, what's up? How can I help you? And I'm telling you, I got 3 pieces of business by simply going through the letter A, asking, how can I serve you? Now, mind you, they all know what I do. They all know how I do it. And they know exactly what I do. right? They were, oh my God, Walter, thank you so much. Your ears must have been burning. Not really. I just went through the letter A, right?
Yeah.
And guess what I did the next day? I went through the letter B, right? So I'm telling you, being connected to people makes life so much easier. My kids gotten jobs. My life has never been the same. But this is all about cracking the code, right?
Yeah.
And so, in my basketball career, I'm gonna go back to it. I worked hard, but I didn't understand the fundamentals of becoming elite.
Yeah.
The moment I understood the fundamentals of becoming elite, I instantly got a breakthrough and I instantly got to my next level. And I stumbled onto this code. My college basketball coach was incredible. And he kind of taught me the code based on how he ran his culture. And now we teach this code to all of our clients. And so, for example, Jersey Mike Subs cracked the code. Just
Yeah.
sold for 8 billion. They were doing a whole lot of things right, obviously already, but in 8 years being on the advisory board, I told Peter Cancro, the founder, I said, "Man, let me help you turn this into a training and development company." And he said, "Okay, let's go for a walk." He invested a lot of money in training and development, and I'm telling you, man, $8 billion later,
Love
he
it.
got the reward. And he's so generous that everyone inside of his company grew and benefited as well. So I've seen it work in sports. I've seen it work in my own business. And now we see it every day with the success of our clients. It's all about cracking the code, the peak performance code. And I'm telling you, man, once you crack the code, making money is easy.
So good. And so I want to do, as we wrap up here, I want to do three things. One is, I hope you guys didn't miss what Walter said there. So, because all of you today, he just gave you something that is valuable in your life and in your business right now, and to the people that are in your life. Pull out your cell phone. In fact, put this on your calendar sometime today or tomorrow, but put it on the calendar, because if you don't trip over, it's not going to happen. Put it on your calendar to to message those friends, message those people in your life, and what you're asking, very, very simple. One level is just to say what Walter did. Hey, what's up? How can I help you? What's up? How can I help? Or for me, I'd say, howdy. How can I help you?
Right,
Or how
right.
can I add value to you? And because not many people are doing that. Most people are asking for something that is for them instead of asking for something for the person they're texting. Hey, how can I add value to you right now? I've been thinking about you, because I was going through my phone thinking about the A's, and when I was doing that, I was like, I'm asking this person how I can help them, because it's only going to be valuable. Who's going to be mad that you sent them that message, and it's useful? I like this, Walter, because I think, and I'm gonna put this on my calendar for tomorrow morning, and because I do this when I leave the gym and I go sit in the sauna. I'm in the sauna, and I just devour podcasts and books like you do. So I'm always listening, and when I have one, I will go, this would be valuable to so and so. That is my client, whatever the topic might be on. And so I'll copy that podcast, and then I'll paste it into a text to him and just say, "Hey, was thinking about you. I think you'll really enjoy this." And I can't tell you how many wonderful things has come as a result of just that little value add, that drop. But I'm going to be more intentional about it after this conversation. I'm going to put it on the calendar, and I'm going to say, "Hey, whatever you just listened to, it has value. Start going through your phone instead of trying to use your brain for recall. You got a list of people, so just go through that list of people and say, 'Hey, listen to this today, and your name came into my mind, and I just thought you'd love this, and see what you think.'" Um, so do this. This is a takeaway right now. Second, Walter, is how can people get connected with you to learn this stuff, to learn the code, to engage in your programs? How can they do that? If they're an advisor out there and they haven't heard you speak, the companies that they're associated with maybe they have not cracked the code that they need Walter to come light up the life, right? How do they connect with you?
They can, we have a website, sharkmindset.com. Sharkmindset.com. I would challenge any financial planner. If you're not Diamonds Club, If you're not President's Club, if you're not going across those stages getting trophies, go through our sales training. We're working with Aflac right now. We have Prudential. I had their whole leadership team maybe 2 weeks ago or so. We're cracking the code in financial services because the truth is the financial services industry kind of wines and dines the stars, rightfully so. But there's a huge turnover. There's a huge gap in someone really being successful. And a lot of it has to do with just a little push.
Yeah.
Sometimes just need a little training. And I'm an athlete, so I believe in coaching. And so sharkmindset.com, our sales training is called Shark Mindset Selling. I mean, we support you for a whole year. And we teach you the mindset, we teach the skill set, and we teach you how to make a human connection. That's what it's all about. Mindset, skill set, and human connection.
Yeah.
Mindset, skill set, and human connection. The way we got in front of Aflac, I keynoted the conference. I got a standing ovation. As soon as I left the stage, the president walks up to me and says, "Walter, you were amazing. My people loved you." I said, "Yeah, but that's only 60 minutes. And I just spoke to all your superstars. What's your strategy for your average agents?" And he just kind of looked at me. And I played with two superstars, Karl Malone, John Stockton, Utah. And you could say I was an average ball player. But my coach, Jerry Sloan, coached us until we got to the NBA Finals and the Western Conference Finals. So I get it. Karl Malone, Stockton was superstars, but hey, I'm an NBA ball player too. And I'm teaching all my leaders in financial services, especially. Your legacy is not based on recruiting superstars. Your legacy is based on what you do with that average agent or that average advisor. And so our Shark Mindset Selling program is really designed for any financial professional. If you want to get to the next level, no matter where you're operating, come on, let us help you work on your mindset. Let us help you work on your skill set, and let us help you improve that human connection, because those are the only three ways you're going to really get a breakthrough. And we've already cracked the code in financial services, so why not just tap in, hang with us for a year, and let us help you crack your code so you can live your best life. So sharkmindset.com, Shark Mindset Selling, all the information is there, and we love to see you.
That's awesome. And we'll link to all of that in the show notes so that you guys have it. And I am, Walter, so glad that our mutual friend, Braden Dragoon, introduced us. He said, "Man, you got to meet Walter because you two are cut of the same cloth. You guys will love having conversations," which he is not disappointed. Every time we have a conversation, I leave excited and with more clarity. And last thing I think we should do is let's call Ted Koppel and just see what happens. Maybe he'd answer and we can have a little bit on the show. And I really appreciate it so much. Walter, thank you for taking it.
Wesley, thank you. And, the sun is shining bright behind me. I'm in Florida with this Florida bright sun. And I just want everyone to know that your business is bright, your future is bright, but you got to get in position to really get your breakthrough. And the only way you can do that, you got to get out that whirlpool.
Yeah.
If your business has been stagnant, for years, I'm telling you, the mind is a dangerous thing. And I had to get help breaking my cycle.
Yeah.
And as soon as I got my cycle broken, I've been a lead ever since, right? Your mind should not be a whirlpool trapped in your inner thoughts. Your mind should be like a river. It should be like an ocean, expanding, infinite, and deep. And the only way you can do that is by really getting into an immersion program.
Yeah.
There's something called neuroplasticity, where the brain kind of keeps you in the loop. You got to break out that loop and get some new thought patterns. And that's what we're experts in. I've had help with it myself. And I'm telling you, man, I've been a pinnacle performer, getting breakthroughs ever since. And I'm telling you, that's why we're here to help, and we're here to serve mankind.
So good. You're a blessing, brother. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Wesley.
Thanks for tuning in to From Busy to Rich. If something in today's episode sparked an idea or hit a nerve, don't keep it to yourself. Follow the show, share it with a friend, and let's keep building a community of advisors who want more. You can find more resources, tools, and free content at wesyounglive.com. We'll see you back here next time for more real conversations about building the life and business you really want.